I strike up a candid conversation with Nelia Cruz Sarcol, also known as Teacher Nelia. I've known her ever since I was very young. She's the founder and CEO of CIE British Schools and CIE Global Colleges. I hope you enjoy this talk. Thank you. Good evening, Teacher Nelia. Can I still call you that?
Good evening, my sweetheart.
Yes, good
You're
evening.
still my sweetheart because all my students are
Yes,
my
it's
sweethearts.
been many years and it's good to
Many
see you.
years. It's good to see you too again.
Yes. So I wanted to catch up and ask you, how have you been?
I've been doing pretty well. I'm more relaxed now, of course, because the school is on its 38th, 38
Has it been
year.
that long?
Oh, I started when I was 5 years old. No, I have trained so many people who've been working for me for over 20 years. So they are helping me. I have several vice presidents and head mistresses. So it's everything is in place. Like I'm more confident that they can run the school even if I'm away. But I'm still very hands-on. I'm very
Still into the details?
yes, especially the curriculum.
Ah,
Because that's my expertise, curriculum design.
mm.
I really go out of my way to study and research.
So what has changed since my time? Since those days when we
Yes.
started with
Uh-huh.
CDCC?
Well, unfortunately, you left when you were in high school, right?
Yes.
And I remember you said you didn't want to leave, but you had to. But we have to respect the wishes of your parents. Of course, we became an international school when we put up the big campus. We became a British international school.
Mm.
And over time, we were nominated and among hundreds of British international schools overseas as one of the best British international schools overseas.
Mm.
That was pre-pandemic. We didn't win the first place, but we were in the top three. So I had to go to London to be acknowledged to be one of those shortlisted as one of the best British international schools worldwide.
Mm.
That's something we didn't expect, but we got it.
Okay.
And of course, we have British qualifications. We introduced the British qualifications in the Philippines as early as 1998. Before, it was another kind of qualifications. People don't realize that for you to go overseas to study, you need to have qualifications. IBO, A levels, IGCSE. We have A levels, that's General Certificate in Advanced levels.
So you went through that
Yeah.
entire process because you
Yes.
were really passionate about
Yes.
pushing this type of
Yes.
education,
Because
especially for Filipinos.
yes, because my dream is to level the playing field for Filipinos to access international standard education. And it's too expensive, right? So I said there must be a way for a Filipino school to convert to become an international school and you know put the cost within the reach of ordinary Filipinos, no? At least the average middle class Filipinos. So that's what I did. I brought in A levels and IGCSE. IGCSE stands for International General Certificate for Secondary Education. And that's given by UK, not me. No? They study with me, but it's given by UK.
So how's the cost now? How are the fees?
Oh, it's one.
Where is it attainable?
Of course, it's one fourth of what the other big international schools are charging. And not only that, if the student on our 10th year, no, anniversary.
Yeah.
I said we have to start giving back. So I instituted the Filipino National Scholarship Grant. We're using the terminology Filipino national because it's the way um, the British say it. He's a British national, he's a Singapore national. So we call our brother, sister Filipinos Filipino national. So we gave the Filipino National Scholarship Grants. These are partial grants for all Filipinos, whether you're very rich or you're average Filipino, as long as you have a passport,
Mm.
Philippine passport, valid, you will be given. The highest we gave was 1,000 US, no, 2,000 US dollars. That's the highest we gave, or maybe more, depending on the grade level. Partial scholarship.
Okay. But maybe we can delve first into your humble roots, your beginnings. So I understand you were a flight attendant early on.
Yes, yes.
So what really made you decide to embark on this journey to become an educator, a businesswoman, and a
Yeah.
philanthropist, you would say?
Actually, when I was 16 years old, my parents are so strict. I couldn't attend parties. Of course, I can if my brothers will accompany me or the the yaya will accompany me. Oh, but during my time, it was not called yaya. They're just maids. They're helpers. But since there was a helper about 18 years old, she would accompany me to parties. I would pretend she's my foster sister so
Mm.
that it will, and I'll dress her up so that I can attend parties. So when I saw in the newspaper, there was a search for Philippine Airlines flight attendants or flight stewardess, I applied.
This
And
was in the 80s. Or,
yes, yes, yes. And then it was not in my dream to become an FA with Philippine Airlines, but I stayed for 5 years. Then I went back to school because I really love children.
mm,
Actually, I wanted to have many children. Unfortunately, I only have one. So when I was in school, I was exposed to the different curricula and I studied almost all the educational systems of the world. I have always been fascinated with that. Why is it that the Filipinos cannot, when they go abroad, they have to step back, take 2 year, another 2 year below their level before they can go to college, something like that. So it has always fascinated me. So when I graduated from UP, I taught in an international school. I taught in a Montessori school. I taught in college
mm.
also. And and then there was an opportunity for me to put up a tutorial center because I was really so bored. I was married na by then.
Mm.
My husband said, "Aren't you going to do anything? You're just here at home." And I said, "Okay." So I thought, I'll put up a summer school. And that began
So you
yeah,
married young. What
yes,
age did you get married?
21,
Oh,
21.
wow.
And then that's why when I graduated from college, I was carrying my married name already, not my maiden name.
What was your course in college?
Education.
I understand you were magna cum laude. I read an
Yes.
article recently.
Yes. Almost summa cum laude, except that, if my classmates are watching, my classmates in UP, my batchmates, hi, if you're watching, Baba Nong, I got a very low grade in music education because the teacher, our professor, was asking me to demonstrate how to teach rhythm without a musical instrument. And I couldn't imagine how I could do that. So I got a very low grade.
Mm.
And they were making fun of me because I was singing uh, Jack and Jill into the tune of Bahay Kubo or the other way around.
Ah,
They kept laughing.
okay.
If not for that and also my calculus, I could have been summa cum laude. So anyway, I really enjoyed myself and well, from the tutorial center,
This
Uh,
was all in Cebu, right?
yeah, so
Because you
Juan
started in
Osmeña
Cebu.
Street. Yeah,
Okay.
right across St. Teresa's and near Sacred Heart for girls. My husband said, "How much is your tuition fee?" 5,000 a year. How much is the tuition fee in the other schools? 2,000. Who's going to enroll in your school? I said, "Basta, I'm going to teach them the best that I can
Ah.
teach them that no one knows because I know how to teach well."
So your
And he
emphasis was quality.
yes. So my husband said, "Who's going to enroll in your school? So embarrassing if nobody will enroll." I said, "No, it's okay. I don't want many students. I just want to be able to do something because you've been nagging me that I'm not doing anything." So the school grew and grew and grew.
So
I
what
didn't
made you
even,
really take that leap? I know your first was CDCC, right? And
yeah.
that's where I went. In fact,
Uh,
I was one of your first, one of the
yes. The
earlier
earlier.
students
So
of
cute.
CDCC.
Ladies and gentlemen, he was one of the cutest babies. He was only 2 years old. I used to carry him around. He would
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah, so how did that begin? From the tutorial somewhere at St. Therese, then getting that area in Mabolo, which became the CDCC campus, where I have a lot of memories
Memories.
there.
Were you there when I had animals?
I
Animals,
remember a few.
horses.
There was a zoo, right?
Yes, I had a zoo because there was no zoo in Cebu, so I
I
put
know
up a
there was
zoo.
a peacock, I remember.
Peacock
And
walking around,
yes.
sheep,
Yeah.
lamb,
Yes.
guinea
Some
fowl.
recollection.
Yeah.
It
I even
rings a
had a
bell.
horse at one point in time.
I don't remember the horse.
But I gave up the horse because my husband said, that horse can kick a kid. But it never did. So I gave it to Quadra. I donated it to Quadra when there was still Quadra. Anyway, many people from my small school, one classroom along Juanos Mania, many people wanted to enroll. So I said, okay, huh, I'll I'll look for a place. So I got a place and I moved in there. It was all talahib, no? Two mansions yun eh, owned by John and Elena Young. Elena sa Chongbian married to John Young. And I negotiated for a good price.
It was a long-term lease.
It started only with 5 years, then became 10 years, and became 25 years. So I stayed there for over 25 years.
So you were very hands-on
Very
in
hands-on.
hiring the teachers, in
Yes.
setting up the programs,
Yes,
the
yes.
subjects.
Mhm, mhm.
So what did you offer that other schools did not offer that time? Because I remember my mom was very eager to send me to CDCC because of the package.
Yes, number one, the curriculum. Even up to now, our curriculum is so unique. No? Because I'm really a teacher and I'm a curriculum writer. I created a school for my children, but I did not have children.
Yeah.
I had a kid in 2000, no? But early on, I did not have children. So everything that I want in a school for my son or my daughter should be there. The moment they come in, they should see a nice playground. And during that time, we had the most beautiful playground
Yeah,
in
it
Cebu.
was big. I remember there was a tree house.
And
there
I
was
designed it. And because at that time you cannot purchase, cannot import, no? And then I wanted violin. I want a fully integrated curriculum. You pay only once, and there's music, there's swimming, there's aikido, there's painting, there's violin.
Yeah, I remember I learned
You don't have
to
to
play the
pay
violin.
extra for those because if you go to other schools, you have to pay extra for all those things. But everything is there. The only optional thing then was Chinese, no? Because I was trying to cater to the Chinese community. But that's no longer a problem now because the Chinese are dying to learn English. So you don't really have to study Mandarin anymore because they are now in my school
Learning
studying English. And they don't want anybody who speaks Chinese to be in my school.
So no more Chinese classes
No
now.
more. Because, number one, the teachers I was getting couldn't speak authentic Mandarin. Very difficult to get Mandarin teachers. And when I imported teachers from China, and some of your classmates or batchmates might be watching this, they were crying during class
Actually,
because
I
they're so
remember
strict.
our Chinese classes. Most
They're-
of them were, there was a lot of memorization
yes,
on,
yes.
and
they-
then you forget after because you don't
Exactly.
apply them.
And when
after.
I tried to intervene in the curriculum design, the Chinese teachers were angry with me because I was telling them, I want you to teach 200 phrases a year. That's it. I want them to speak. I want communicative competence. I
Yeah.
want them to be able to communicate. When they love the language, then I want to teach them the conjugation, those things, the writing. But isn't it fun if they can converse with each other? They can converse with their grandparents. But they said, no, no, that's not the way it's done. So I was always at odds with the Chinese teachers. And after a while, I gave up because some of the teachers I got from China were so strict and
There
kids were
was a
crying.
gap, yeah.
And
Some were terror. There's
terror.
that term, terror.
Ito pa, this is so funny. In high school, the Chinese teacher said, if you speak in English, you have to pay a fine in my class if you speak English. You have to speak Chinese, Mandarin. You know what? Your schoolmates did. Maybe batchmates mo nga, but I won't mention names.
Sige.
Can we pay in advance?
Yeah. So they have
It was
freedom
a joke.
to, yeah.
But the Chinese teacher took it so badly and came to me and complained that the kids are disrespectful. But I said they were just joking because I spoke to them. They were joking. They were teasing you. Can't you take a joke? You have to jive with the students.
Thin-skinned naman yung teacher.
Ha?
Yung Chinese teacher, masyadong
Oo. So,
sensitive
ayun,
masyado.
sensitive masyado. So, anyway, from CDCC, the parents loved CDC so much. They said, sana you have high school.
Yeah, initially it was just preschool and grade school.
Yes.
I remember. That's why I
Yes.
also just stayed until grade 6.
Yes. And then I said, if I'm going to put a high school, I'm going to make my school an international school because they have to be prepared for the 21st century. In 1995, I was already talking about 21st century curriculum where the world will become borderless and the competition will be global. The marketplace will be global. But people could not understand me. Very few could understand me.
Visionary ka pala. I mean, ahead of your time.
Because I'm a curriculum writer, I
Yes.
do research and I attend many conferences overseas. No, I really invest in those things because I always believe that education and training are the best ways to upgrade your school, our school. So I was talking about that, and the banks during that time were courting me to borrow money.
Mm.
And they said, it's time you build a school. There's this Kasapi fund of SSS, which is open to hospitals and schools. You can avail of it, very low interest rates. So I was encouraged to do that. So
So
I played.
when you expanded, you spoke with banks who were willing to,
No, the banks were the ones coming to me.
because they were confident in what you could offer. of
Yes,
course.
and in my assets. No,
Alright.
kidding aside. The funny thing then was my loan with SSS was approved. I will not mention the bank. The bank also, it was the bank who processed it for me. It was approved. No, it's SSS through this bank because they were the ones who there were three banks convincing, but I went with one bank, and then they processed it. It was approved, and I designed the building. I told the architect, because as I said, in 1995, I was talking about 21st century learning and 21st century world. I said, I don't want it to look like the traditional school. And you've seen our school.
Yeah,
Huh?
that structure is about 20 plus years old now.
Yes,
So I
yes.
remember that was very
23.
fresh, and I
23
was
years old.
in around grade 3 when it was being built.
Yes.
And there
But
was
I did not close CDCC.
yes, I remember there
Yes.
was even some rivalry between our CDCC
Yes.
among
Uh,
us and the ones who went full time in CIE.
Actually, not rivalry. I
It
think
felt that
they
way. I
were
remember.
jealous that
Yeah,
I was always in the other school, because it's a new baby. It's like you have a baby. If you have two children, if
yeah.
you have a 10-year-old and you have a newborn baby, you'd spend more time with your new
But I
baby. But I was
remember we
traveling
were
back and
quite
forth.
competitive with the ones in
Uh,
CIE, and we were still in CDCC
yes.
because we preferred the old campus.
That's why I lost so much money maintaining the small school,
Yeah.
because I promised the parents, okay, I'll let all your children graduate before I transfer
Yeah.
everything to
I
the main
remember
school.
that period of time, the transition.
And I was maintaining two schools 2 blocks away from each other, maintaining two sets of officers, two sets of teachers. And you had very little enrollment, not at the time, because many transferred to
Yeah, many
CDs,
were
to
headed
CIE.
here.
Yes. Now, the thing there is, I gave a talk to the parents, and I told them that we're putting up a school leading to 21st century education, no? Where my aspiration is internationalization of education. And if I say that, if I say we want to be at par with the rest of the world, I have to have some rubrics, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I looked for an accrediting body. We are now accredited by a foreign accrediting body. Since then, no? The sad, most challenging but most triumphant part of my life happened while I was building the bigger campus, which from CDCC, Child Development Center Cebu, right?
Yes.
I couldn't call it anymore Child Development because I had high school and
Yeah.
college.
So a new name
A
and a
new
new
name.
logo. I remember with the C.
Lettered C.
Yes,
Because from the old logo, our old logo had a spiral.
I remember.
Okay?
I
Now
still have the old uniforms.
yes,
I think.
this one is the modernized spiral. If you look at it, it's still a spiral, but it's a modern take, which I designed myself, on the spiral of the CDCC, because the spiral in CDCC meant growth and development. That's what the spiral is for. Up to now, when you draw a spiral when teaching psychology, that means growth and development.
Mm.
So when I modernized it, it became a letter C, but with the large round thing and then paganon. It's still a spiral, but modernized. As I said, it was the most challenging part of my life when I put up CIE, because we broke ground. We even had time capsules, buried.
That was ground up, right?
Yeah,
I remember.
March of 1997 or February of 1997. And then what happened in 1997? You were still a baby.
The
Asian
financial crisis.
One of the worst. Sabi ko nga, I just went to sleep. The next day, the dollar, before I slept, the dollar was 22, 23 to a dollar. Overnight,
Big,
40, 42.
big shock.
Then it reached to 55. And then the bank, many construction in Cebu stopped.
Yeah, crisis.
Even waterfront stopped. Who continued? Chongwa and Ailang. And a few small ones. Ours was 7,000 square meters of floor area.
Yeah, it was quite a big property.
7 stories.
Plus, it had an elevator. I remember.
Yeah, there's a reason for, we have If you look at
I still remember very well
if
the
you look at the
structure.
building, it doesn't look like a school. It looks like a hotel
Yeah, or a
outside
business
or a
center,
business
or
center. With outside, you can see a capsule, separate capsule
yeah, it was really a standout among the other
with a
schools.
scenic elevator. But there's a reason for the scenic elevator, Iho.
What's the reason?
I'm always scared of child molestation, child abuse,
Mm.
and because of you see, I did research. I was exposed to a lot of schools, and I'm so um, forward looking. I'd rather than praning, no, because as I said, I built the school for my children, no. So if a kid gets stuck in the elevator, which happens,
Yeah,
how will how
you'll
will
never know. Yeah.
Well, what if he or she doesn't know how to use the speaker? At least, the security guard can always look up from the ground because
Yeah,
there are always
it's
security guards.
visible
It's
naman.
visible
Because
and
it
you can
was
see
all
if a kid
glass.
if a kid is stuck there or a teacher or anybody, and of course impossible to do child abuse there, hitting a kid or molesting a kid
Yeah,
because it's
kitang-kita.
kitang kita and even the restrooms. Hindi pa uso yung, di ba, before you enter a restroom, there's a door and then before you go to the cubicles, then there are doors in the cubicles. Our school, because I'm exposed overseas, I always travel, there's no door to the entire room, but there are of course doors on the cubicles. Para, and then I always station a yaya in front of the CRs so that the CRs are always clean. No, every floor there is a yaya or a janitress. Yun,
Maintenance man.
maintenance. At saka, whatever the kids see, may madapa, mahulog, slide sa CR, there's somebody there. And they only, move back and forth up to now, it's like that. Because as I said, I made the school for my children. And then going back to 1997, the bank did not release my loan.
So how did you cope? How did you deal with that?
This may sound cliche, ladies and gentlemen, and Michael. I prayed to God. I prayed.
Yeah.
Of course,
I
number
think
one, I
that's-
sold everything I had. No, all my cars, even my Roadster.
I saw, your BMW Roadster, and there was a Benz, a blue
Yes.
Mercedes Benz.
And my yellow, I had a yellow Benz. I had a yellow BMW also. And a van. I sold everything. Shares of stocks, houses,
House?
jewelry. The one that my parents gave me, and another house, I sold them at a very low price because during the time crisis, the price of real estate was really down. So I had to bite the bullet. And I prayed to God because it was not enough. Because the building cost 200 million. God guided me. And that's how I
So
created the support group.
The prayer was answered.
Yes. Believe it or not, God, even when I said, Lord, it's not that I don't trust you. I know I trust, but I'm so scared. Please reassure me that I'm doing the right thing. Can you please send me some flowers?
How did you overcome? I mean, how did you have that courage to really go for all these projects then? Because you were, unknown and new because you were an FA. And
Yeah. That's what my husband said. But
how did you have
and
that
I never
courage to
socialized.
really go for it?
And
I mean, it's a big project to
and I
really
hardly
set up.
socialized because I was a workaholic. Because one track mind ako.
Tunnel vision. No?
People said I'm emotional. No, I'm not emotional. I'm very tough. I'm very passionate. Yun talaga. Because you see, if you know what you want in life, no, and you want it really badly, you want to achieve it, you have to, there's there's a lot of pain in my life, okay? So I converted that pain to
Into pursuing.
into pursuing my dream, no? I will not be held down by controversies because, well, I hope my husband will not watch this. I was not accepted by the family of my husband when he married me
And why was this?
because I was not Chinese.
Typical,
Yes.
typical issue among
So
Chinese families.
I had to get out. But one thing wonderful, my husband followed me. He also left his family to go with me.
So you were on your own as a
Yes.
couple
As a couple.
without help from
No help.
parents or relatives.
But because I have a strong belief, I have a strong belief, I have strong faith in God, and hard work. Plus, ladies and gentlemen,
Luck.
and kids, if you're watching, my students, if you're watching, education is key. My, kumbaga, puhunan, no?
Mm.
My capital, my major capital was my education and my reputation as a student. Being magna cum laude, being UP Diliman school leader, and the way people knew me, no, that I can be trusted, no? Reputation, no? Even at the height of the Asian crisis, nothing bounced, no check of mine ever bounced. I paid everybody on time. And if I couldn't pay, I'd say, can you give me another 30 days or another 60 days? But if they won't, I will make sure that I'll pay. God helped me a lot. He introduced me to creating the support group. Have you heard of the support group?
No. What? Tell me more about the support group.
I had a meeting with the parents and I showed them the perspective of the building and I spoke to them about 21st century learning. And that was 1996, 97. 1997. I told them, nobody talks about this yet, but
So you had that vision early
this
on.
is what I want to do with the kids. When they go to our big school, they will be internationally accredited.
How did you look for ties abroad?
I went to UK.
So you really went to the different
Yes.
schools.
Yes. I went to I wrote a lot of people. I went to UK and
And
because
some were
nobody snubbed. I mean,
some
the
were
first
snobbish.
no, never. Because the Philippines has always been exposed to American education. There's at the time there was no real British international school. We were the first true. Of course, there are now a few, no, but during the time, 1997, no, pursuing British standards was only us.
Yeah, that was unheard of at that time. So
Yes, and that's why when I told them, um, when your kids go abroad and they have these qualifications, but of course it will depend on what university they will go to. You want Ivy League, you have to have all the grades should be A plus, A minus. But other universities, a C will do. It depends on which university you'll go to. But they don't have to repeat 2 grade levels. As early as 1995 was talking about that. That was my passion, internationalization of Philippine education. Actually, during the time of Brother Andrew, I was one of the uh, volunteer, like technical panel. And but unfortunately, Brother Andrew, because President Joseph Estrada was
ousted.
ousted, deposed.
2001, I
Yeah.
remember.
So he was gone. So all the plans did not push through because that was also the beginning of CIE, right? So I just did it on my own. And well, the support group helped a lot. I told the parents, we have our school has a new parents, teachers, administration organization.
So more communication
Yes,
between
it's called
you and the
support.
parents.
Yes, a society with unilateral parental participation organized for a relevant tomorrow. So they helped me by paying their tuition fees ahead.
Throughout your time, what was the biggest criticism or setback you got? Well, you mentioned the
The,
crisis,
the, the,
but I'm
the
sure you had
financial
a lot of
crisis.
naysayers also,
On the naysayers,
or
yes.
criticisms.
Yes, because I introduced computer educate assisted CAI, computer assisted instruction in 1985.
Oh,
There were computers in my small classroom, my one classroom
yes.
school tutorial center called the Early Learning Clinic. I had Apple II plus computers because my husband's business, together with his friends, they're importing Apple II. That was their business.
Yeah.
Barkada nila.
A room full of computers.
There were about 5 or 6 computers, and after I have taught them reading and math. I have computer assisted software, and they practice there. Meron pa nga akong speech synthesizer. At the time,
Mm.
80, my speech synthesizer was 1986. I would teach the children to read short A, like BAT, bat. I have a speech and they type in BAT in the computer, and the computer will say bat, bat. Sounds like a robot, really. As early as that. So they said, my naysayers would say, "Oh, she's making these children like robots." But I was as early as, actually not even 95, as early as 85, I was talking about the future of education because that is really my line.
Mm.
I graduated in 85 at the top of my class. I was a bookworm. I was a wide, wide reader. And if you go to CIE, there's a room there for college. There's a small room. 60% of those books I've read. Because I wasn't doing anything. I was not social. I was not partying. From being a socialite, FA, I stopped all that when I became a student and became
So just
really
focused on your
on my
goals.
vocation as a teacher.
Wow.
So I read lots of books, education, management books. That's why people say, why are you like this? I'm a product of how my parents brought me up, how my teachers brought me up, my school. And because I grew up in UST, Catholic school, very, very spiritual. But I have always been Christ centered. I always prayed to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. That's why it was easy for me to become
Mm.
born again because I'm really very Christ centered. That has always been my crutch, no, my faith. It because
So
I don't think I
you're
could be this strong if I didn't have strong faith.
faith. So you're born again Christian.
Yes, yes. I'm even a Bible leader, Bible study leader.
I still struggle with my faith from time to time, but I have questions. I'm curious. So,
Oh, it's okay to ask.
but I'm a very spiritual person. So I do,
Yeah.
I get into Christian apologetics and all the arguments
Yes.
for existence or proof of the resurrection. So I
Hi.
sort of get into that
Oh.
once in a
I do
while.
not argue with them anymore. If you have the faith, you have it. If you don't have it, I'll just pray for you. Although
Yeah.
during my Bible lessons, I try. Very basic Alam mo?
Yeah, but faith is complicated well, because
Yeah.
it's subjective. So how someone gets into a belief system, it varies from person to person.
This is how
So to each his
Yeah,
own
to
in
each his
that
own.
aspect.
But there is one teaching that I always say, no? Do you believe in God? Everybody would say Catholic na or born again. Yes, of course. Do you know Jesus? Yes, of course. I said, okay, what are the attributes of God? Omnipotent,
Yeah.
omniscient, all-seeing,
That could be
everything.
a really long discussion because
Yes,
even how one defines God, it could vary also.
yes. But, now sabi ko, uh, w- uh, uh, well, can you? Because you see, all this, no, are attributes of God. Are we allowed? Do you think it is right that we transfer the attributes of God
Mm.
to someone else? Just answer that, then maybe you will find your way
Mm.
to
But I
the
do
true
know there's
spirituality.
something higher because I always go back to objective morality, values, and
Yeah,
duties.
yes.
Because
But that's a very, very, wars have been fought, wars have been won and lost and still raging up to now because of religion. So never mind talking about it. Just live it and try to show
yeah,
people.
just go through the
Yeah.
journey and
And show people how you live. But of course, they still throw pot shots at you. Like, why are you so
but I think
mabait?
it's part of
Baligtad.
also coming to
Oo.
grow and realize it's from those setbacks and
Eh
those
ako nga,
challenges, from
ang,
the chaos that we
oh,
face.
ang naysayers ko nga, sobra kang mabait. There must be something wrong with you. Anyway, going back, no, to
Yeah.
um, the school has been fully paid.
Oh, wow.
Yan.
So
Okay.
no more headache, less
No,
to
no,
worry
no,
about.
no. That's all God's grace because um, the we have a property beside the golf course. It was bought, so that people
Mm.
thought it's because of the school. That's why we were able to do all these things. No, it was because some properties were sold. That's why we were able to do what we were able to do with CIE.
Okay.
And our curriculum, we constantly improve it.
So what's the curriculum now? Anything new? And the classes, what's the duration per class? What's the setup now? Because really now I have
Uh-huh,
no
uh-huh.
idea of how it
Well,
looks. I'm
as early
just
as
curious.
early as 1998, no, we introduced business from grade. Although we did a bit of that with CDCC, grade 7 onwards. So uh, one of the things that differentiates us from the rest of the schools is I I use problem-based learning. What you learn in class, especially starting grade 7, for it to have relevance, I want you to apply it, especially business. That has been a constant conversation with my Chinese friends and my Filipino friends. Oh, the Chinese children are so good in business. I said, because they're exposed early on. They see their parents, they see their uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters. And in my school, that's what I'm trying to do. Since you cannot expose them because you're all working, now most of Filipino parents are employed, I'm doing it in the school, starting grade 7. No? It was unheard of entrepreneurial
Yeah,
subjects, but we had it
that's good
starting
because
1998.
most criticism is usually because in school that's what they say. It's too theoretical. It's
Mhm.
different from real world application. So I think it's very important to
Uh,
have that
so
more practical
we call it
approach.
problem-based learning, and I'm sure you've seen the kids would. We were the first school in the entire country, grade school to high school, having subjects in marketing, business
Mm.
studies, business organization,
Yeah.
writing business plans. You know, we were the very first ones, no? And we had and technology, because that's my exposure
Yeah,
overseas,
well-rounded.
no? And I'm sure you've seen them. They would have trade shows.
Trade shows.
Trade shows, hindi mo nakikita sa initially in Ayala Center, but when Ayala Center became bigger, it was too expensive. So we were doing it in the place where the cost
Yeah.
owned by Tito Napco, Christopher Co of Overseas Hardware in Mandaue.
Yeah.
There where the restaurants are, we would hold our business trade shows there. And the kids from grade 7 to grade 12, the classes would adopt a family that has a small business, and they have to apply what they're learning from us to help this family make their business better. So they would make marketing plans, they'd make brochures integrated with their English subjects, with their computer classes, that make business plans. They'll teach financial planning, product development,
Everything.
things that we teach, they must apply. And then every year, starting grade 7, before the end of the school year, they will face a panel to report, not us. Well, there's one professor from us with PBSP, Philippine Business for Social Progress, our friends who are there or from there, from DSWD, from media, from the academe. They will present what they learned at the starting grade 7. That's the most unique thing that we have, plus the value system. We teach the Pearl Principle. The change begins from within, and
Pearl
within,
Principle.
yes.
You wrote
Once
a
there.
book about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the grading system now? Is it numbers? Is it letters? Diba?
Letters.
A plus.
Letters, but in the report card, the letters have equivalent numbers because when they transfer to other schools, they would demand that. Okay, but we started in the Philippines from preschool, grade school, middle school, junior high, senior high. We started giving awards by range. For example, parang college, like ako, magna cum laude, because I belong to this range. And if you're 10, you're all magna cum laude. You're all summa cum laude. You're all cum laude, even if you're 100. We began that. We began that in the Philippines for preschool, grade school, middle school, junior. And now, DepEd is also doing it. So the awards is honors, highest honors, distinction, high distinction, and highest distinction. So those are the awards.
How many students in total do you have now?
Because of the pandemic,
Also,
we went down.
how many do you employ now? Teachers?
Makati, Cebu, Tacloban, maybe almost 200
Overall?
overall.
Okay. Teachers?
Teachers and employees na yan. Kasi pag nakita ko yung payroll, yan, almost 200 na yan or more. Because we have part-timers and we have consultants. Of course, although they're consultants, we do ISO very, very seriously. So I'm very particular about that because it's part of preparing for the second generation, that they follow standard operating procedures. So we're very serious, and our quality teams are very serious. They do quarterly checks, our internal quality teams, in preparation for the next visit of TUV to do our reaccreditation.
What made you decide to venture to Makati, Tacloban? Because primarily it was just Cebu. So what made you embark on this leap again to expand further?
Okay.
And do you have future plans in
Yes.
other areas?
You see, I teach management, right? The business, you're in business. You studied also business, right? Are you a business?
Management.
Management. we were taught the normal curve, right? The normal curve. That's a normal curve. Okay? The normal curve, you can never argue with the normal curve. So the normal curve is like that. Okay? When you reach the top, there's no way but to go down. So, and I teach this in graduate school. You have to create the J curve. You have to start another curve, and it's called the J curve. And that's what I'm trying to do for the second generation. For the second generation. The challenges are there, especially with the pandemic, my God. We lost a lot of foreign students because we have a lot of foreign students. They went back to their countries. But in spite and despite that, I never retrenched anyone because my commitment, I treat my
So during COVID, no retrenchments.
no retrenchment. Even if our enrollment was half or less than half.
Teachers got paid.
Not only teachers, everybody
All.
got paid, including the janitors who got locked in Cebu. Because we were, we have contractors. There's always repair going on. They got locked in because they cannot even go to Mandaue City from Cebu City.
There was a
So I have to give salaries to these people, and only the security guard goes to the Palawan to, deposit their salaries for their families. I did that because we're teaching that in school, and we have to show it in our lives. Change begins from within and within your sphere of influence. That's the mantra. That's the core value system of a CN. What does that mean? You can change. That's our goal. We want you to become better people, successful people. But real change, although begins with you, must radiate outside. Otherwise, it's a useless change. Because if you are the only one improving and all the rest...
There must be a broader impact to the community.
Yes. There has to be reciprocity and...
that helps others beyond yourself.
Yes, and your success is not real success unless people around you, beginning with your family, become successful too. Difficult to do. But I have, as the leader of the school, my life is in scrutiny, under scrutiny. I preach that. What will my vice president, my headmister, my director say?
If you don't live it.
If I don't live it. So I said,
you'll be called a hypocrite. If ganun.
Yeah.
Diba?
Tama. So, no retrenchment. Everybody got salaries until nag-open. And nag-open kami face-to-face. I even increased their salaries, but I prayed to God, God, I'm going to increase their salaries because the cost of living is so high, but I don't have students. Please provide me students.
And nag-enroll. They came.
Tumaas naman, pero not as much as before because the foreigners have not really
Iba pa
come
rin
back.
sa pre-pandemic levels.
So, and they're watching. Hi. A lot of them cried because they didn't expect that I would give them a sizable salary increase. Hi. I'll tell them to watch.
Masaya sila sa
They
increase.
cried. So I didn't
increase ba? Ilang percent?
Depende sa longevity at saka sa ano. Pero malalaki. Because I didn't expect they will cry. Then Teacher Christine Bacaresa, the headmistress, and my VP for Operations, Leah Osmeña Solon, told me, Teacher, the teachers and the employees, they cried because they didn't expect that you will give us a raise and that much raise.
Malaking impact yan, for sure.
Because I said, I was thinking of them more than me. Never mind, don't pay rent anyway because the school pays rent to me for the building because I own the building and the land. Actually, they're not paying for the building. They cannot afford to pay me for the building. They're just paying for the rent of the land. Okay? So I said, no more rent muna. give it to them. Because I have to live it. Sabi nila, bola. They can ask my people. They can ask.
So
They can ask.
people-oriented. Yeah,
They can
that
ask.
works, of course. Kasi tao,
That's why
iba.
my people, 30 years na sa akin, ay pong malis. I love you all. Nanonood kayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And my kids, especially those who really, when I was teaching really in school, they're still in touch with me. They get me ninang of their when they get married. I'm always ninang or ninang of the baby. Ganyan. And I love it. I love it.
About Makati and Tacloban,
Yeah.
how did you find an area? How did you set
Tacloban
up?
is a franchise,
Oh.
but we're very hands-on.
So you have a partner in Tacloban, an
A
investor.
franchisee, a school collaboration.
Mm.
We have tuition sharing, but the headmistress is my headmistress, and we don't interfere with their finances, but we are very hands-on on how the curriculum is implemented. We train the teachers, we retrain them, we go there for quality checks. We have to have the same as much as possible. But you see, our franchising or our school collaboration fees are very small. Kasi nga, the J curve I'm creating, my dream is like this. When I grow old, since I have only one kid and he wants to become a doctor, no, not because I want to, he wants to. I want to be able to visit my children having different schools. My dream nga is for my own students to put up the schools
What's
Because-
the requirement? Baka, who knows?
Oo, it's unlike other schools, they ask so much engagement fee. No, we don't. You know how I learned, how to be a good franchisor. Although we're not really franchisor, we're school collaborators. You own the school, no? And then we teach how to set it up. No, you can use our brand name, but you have your own corporation, and your corporation is there. Your school name is also there. We teach about taxes, curriculum, hiring, etc. No,
But won't that be challenging, having that alignment with
we don't, because everything
the
is
values,
Yes.
what the school
yes, the
stands for,
the values. Well, that
the culture of the
yes,
school.
that's why. Well, I was cheated already the first franchisee I had, but
Oh.
never mind. Let's not talk about them. They still owe me 6 million. They didn't pay me my
that's
tuition
what
share.
I'm talking about.
Oo,
Mga ganon.
but no. And they were in a rented place. So when they changed the name of the school, no, and they transferred it, wala akong habol. So now I won't allow a collaboration if it's not a permanent location that they own.
Dapat
Ano yung transfer?
clear yung requirements
Uh-huh.
basta may
Yes.
partner.
And the Tacloban franchisee is 13 years already. Collaboration. It's a collaboration. We prefer to call it a school collaboration. 13 years. And at the height of COVID, they renewed. 3 years ago,
Wow.
height of COVID, they
Nag-renew.
renewed. They renewed. You know how I learned? I bought a lot of franchises. I was studying, how does a franchise work? You read it, you attend classes about it. It's not enough. I always believe in actually experiencing it.
Iba sa actual. Kahit ano pang books.
Yeah, that's why
It's
I
different.
bought 3 franchises. No? But I think, Future Kids. Remember, we had Future Kids. Then I bought a franchise from Singapore. And then I won't mention the other one that charges 55% royalty from gross. I went into that. No, I lost money, but I went into that. I wanted to learn because I wanted to, have my dream. Really, my alumni will have their own schools, and I get to visit them, like their mom or grandma or something like that.
Would be ideal. But
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the
And
world
then,
works differently.
yes, but that is if you really understand the, because my students are the only ones who could really understand what I'm trying to do with the school, what we're trying to teach the new generation. Talagang may culture, merong morality, may foundation.
Complete package.
Ikaw, you mentioned that to me that our students who grew up with us are quite different, right?
Yeah.
I'll mention this. Hi, Alexis Gaisano. I'll tell Alexis to watch. Alexis said, Teacher Nelia, I was transferred to another school I didn't like. I like it here. Because here, Alexis said this, when you trip and fall, my schoolmates will run and help me, carry me, bring me to the clinic if I need to, carry my
My
things and ask in the
pake.
in the
There's a
in the
sense
other
of care.
in the other school, they didn't
Wala.
do that to me. You know what? She transferred. But in one of the graduation, this is so memorable to me. Iyak ako. Her batchmates were graduating grade 6. Sabi niya, I should be there. I want to be there, but I'm not there. Then she was crying. Then a parent went to the stage. Alexis is crying. Why? Because she wants to be up there, but she can't because she's graduating in another school. Then there was a break for me to distribute. Then they told me, you know what? I called her. I was giving out loyalty awards. I called her. And this loyalty medal goes to a special student who is not our student, but she is a true CDCC at heart.
At heart.
Then I called her to the stage. And I gave her a loyalty medal in front of everybody. Because she was crying that she wanted to be on the stage.
Yeah. Yung puso niya. It's there.
Yon. So, my dream really is for, not all, but a few of my students would understand what I'm trying to do and if they want to. Because there's no way you can lose if you manage your school well. Remember, I started with only 80,000 pesos.
Yeah.
But
Remarkable.
God's grace and hard work. There's no such thing as work smart. When you're starting a business, it's really hard work.
Focus.
Focus, dedication, consistency. I don't know kung naabutan mo to. We define success to the students. And this is taught from grade 1 until college. Success is spelled this way. SUCCESS, right? So, because when you ask people, how do you define success? How will you become a success? Different ways. But there are tools that are necessary for you to be a success. So, pinag-aralan ko yan. So, tinuturo ngayon. We're now teaching that. We have always been teaching that to the students since I wrote the book, The Pearl Principle. SUCCESS. SU could be for you also. Anybody watching. Sense of urgency. Okay? C, competence. Education, training, continuous learning. Be a lifelong learner. The next C, congruence. I want to use the word congruence so that people will learn another word. But it only means consistency.
Yeah. Not used often.
Okay.
Congruence.
Congruence. What you say, what you think, what you pledge to. You really have to do. You have to be congruent with. You walk the talk to make it short. Consistency. So SUCCE, enlightenment. Enlightenment. All of us have virtues in our lives. No? We've learned that from our parents, grandparents, from school, from church. They're there. planted, kumbaga. But the moment you make a decision, all this must work together. And you arrive at a discernment. You can discern when you are enlightened, when all these things become operational in your life.
Mm.
So, SUCC, enlightenment. Then S, sacrifice. Hard work. There's no way you can succeed without hard work.
Yeah,
And the
walang
next
shortcut.
S, no shortcuts. The next S is service to humanity.
For
Then,
others.
yes, then you will be a true success.
Wow, I should read your book.
You have to be a CN also. You have to have a strong communion with God, with the Creator. You should have integrity in thoughts, words, and deeds. You have to have empathy with
Mm.
commitment. I will not say, oh, I pity you don't have a house. Your house got burned, but you're not gonna do anything. That's empathy. You really feel.
Yeah,
You even
feel-
cry.
Feel for the other.
You feel. You can put yourself in his or her shoes. But did you do anything? So, CIEans, I'm teaching them through my life that you should have empathy with commitment.
Mm.
Kahit paano tumulong ka. Kung totoong, syempre pipiliin mo, baka naman scammer yan, no? Oh.
Maraming scammers sa mundo.
E,
Maraming.
A,
Yeah, big top.
accountability for your actions. No? You have to be responsible for your actions. And you have to account for that. And if you, hindi ko yan ginawa,
Yeah,
no,
dawat limpyo. There's that term.
we are
Wash
not Pontius
hands.
Pilate. No? And then,
Take responsibility.
yes, and my favorite, nobility of aspirations. So, that's why we're called the School for Leaders. And if you notice, very few of my students are employed. Think about
Self-employed.
Think about it. Very few graduates of my school, of our school. Kasi, even though you're smaller, when you were there, we were still a small school. It was called CDCC. CDCC is also CIE. It's the same. We just moved to another
Yes.
place. And we expanded to have college. Oh. Yun. You're still a CN because you started with
Yeah,
me.
I identify my roots
Remember?
sa CDCC.
Oh,
of course.
whenever you see your teachers, what do you do when you see your teachers? You
Yeah, we bow.
Oh,
I remember
you bow.
when we greet,
And
we
how
bow
old
down.
were you? You were toddler, you were bowing. And how old are you now?
Yeah, 33 na.
33. So when that was 31 years ago,
Yeah,
we
iba,
were
but
bowing. And now the entire country is bowing.
Yeah.
Read the book, ladies and gentlemen. The Tipping Point. And you will understand
nasa
me.
Kindle ba? Can that be
Yes.
downloaded?
Yes, yeah. Tipping Point by Caldwell.
Okay.
When I read it, kinilabutan ako. Because many of the things that our small school started to do is now being done nationwide.
Okay.
Read The Tipping Point.
Bro, how many international schools are you affiliated with or connected with?
Actually,
There's Cambridge, right?
yes,
University of Cambridge.
for college
How
or for
many?
high school, any school for that matter,
Yeah.
it's a matter of your grades. If your grades are high or not so high or not, it's a matter of grades. Just like here in the Philippines, you can go to the best schools if you have the grades, no? And the grades are based on the A levels and the IGCSE. And but we have two partner colleges. We have the same curriculum. You study college with me for your 2.5 years. And your last 10 months, you study with Northwood University. That's our sister school. So, and we also have in Canada, North Island College. So you only study your last 2 years there. In Northwood, it's last 10 months.
Okay. What about teachers? How are they now? How do you qualify teachers?
Oh, I have a panel of my seasoned, highly experienced teachers now do the hiring. I will not interview, you will interview, so you will experience it because I'm training them. My second generation is in place already. I'm now training the third generation because I teach preparing for the next generations. So I have three levels: my level, my group, and then the next group and the third group. Uh, we have teacher training, very very rigid teacher training.
How long is that
Um,
training course?
all year round, all year round, no? But every summer for 40 days and 40 nights, they are all in Cebu. Actually, they'll start this July 23. All campuses will go to Cebu and be trained there. And they study like this year. It's revisiting the curriculum because I changed the curriculum a bit.
You made the curriculum.
Yes, in co-op. Of course, it's benchmarked with international standards.
Mm.
I just tweak it for Filipino, for the Filipino culture.
Yeah. Mas para
But
mas
it's international. The
Filipino touch with
Yes,
the Filipino
yes.
formula.
But and the delivery, but the content is international standard. So they'll start training July 23. All campuses they will now revisit and study the content because we don't rely on the teacher what to teach. They have to follow the curriculum that we give them, which is validated. How is it validated? We give exams
For the
that's
teachers.
for the students. So they have to teach, based on an
Okay.
international standard. The students will be examined based on that. And our examination is different. Well, a lot, some. Like for example, history. You'll be given a photograph. Let's say the French Revolution. You studied French Revolution in high school, okay? World history. There are things in the photograph that are very controversial. You're going to write a narrative about in class,
Mm.
not at home because there's already an AI delicado. So that's the we have a different kind. We use still the traditional, but we have other ways that will make them really think. And last during the pandemic, I especially preschool, grade school, you cannot make them stay online. No? So I even though it was pandemic, I spent so much. I bought AI.
Mm. Oh, big investment or how much was that?
Never mind. Kasi for me, I don't have any hobby. I don't play golf. I don't gamble.
Nakatutok
I
ka
don't.
naman here.
I
This is your
I
main
don't.
focus.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have my hobbies. My school. So they had AI. Like I bought several books. No, it's an entire curriculum. You cannot go to the next page if you cannot answer 100% the questions.
Mm.
So and then they have tokens. If they get this answer correctly, you can buy. They have avatars.
Mm.
They can buy new hats, new shoes, car, house with with their points. So even if we're supposed to only work on chapter 1, they'll go up to chapter 10
Mm.
because they want to dress up their avatar, give them houses, new cars,
Okay.
etc., food. So it was really DepEd Cebu said we had the best online learning during the pandemic.
But now it's really back
Yeah,
face to
really back.
face. No more
Face-to-face.
hybrid or
No more, no more. Although there were requests, our foreign students who never came back, who experienced, because even though they were in Paris,
So how
Canada,
was that?
Africa,
How did
they
you
were
deal with
online
that?
with us.
Still online.
Yes, they were adjusting to our time because they loved our curriculum during pandemic. So now that I said I cannot maintain two systems. It's too costly for me, and I don't want to bring the school fees up.
What's the worst experience you've had dealing with a teacher? I'm sure throughout your many years, there must have been some bad apples or
Jealousy, envy among like for example,
among teachers.
yes, um, I especially when I put up CIE, I promoted one and transferred her to CIE. The other one, I
Left
kept her
in
there because
in
in
CDCC.
CDCC because the parents have known her the longest time, and this one is new.
So she wanted to also be in
No, she will
CIE,
not
or
admit.
she felt that
She will not admit that.
the one in CIE was favored.
She will not admit that because she said, "I don't understand, Teacher Nelia. One day a teacher, the next week a school directress. Don't we have any standards?"
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They don't have a problem with me per se, but sometimes they question my decision. Like they were, why did you build CIE? Why should I not? It's my decision, it's my school.
They criticized you building
Building
CIE.
CIE.
What was the main criticism?
Well, a parent even said, "You used our money in building CIE." I said, "Excuse me, do you have a business? If I buy from your store, no, and I bought a lot for many, many years, and you buy a house, can I tell you, oh, your house, you used my money to build your house? Oh, you used my money to build another branch? Excuse me, even if you add all the tuition fees from 1985 to 1995, forget my overhead expense. Very easy. It cannot build CIE."
I'm sure wala namang names, so safe. What about, parents? Were there many throughout the many years?
Yun na yung worst siguro.
Yun na. Yeah,
When I built CIE, they were, well, it's not true daw that we're internationally accredited because they've never heard of such
so
thing.
some really chose to transfer their kids
Yes.
because of that, or they
Yes,
didn't really
yes,
believe in
yes.
CIE anymore.
Yes.
So
They did,
they went on
especially
a
when
different
I
path.
said that our school is accredited. Because at the time, no other school was accredited. They were just by name.
What about
But eventually, nagpa-accredit din sila.
But ang fees, is there still a lot of mahal? Ganun,
No,
mga,
no,
marami
no.
pa ba nagsabi
No, no.
mahal?
Because there are more expensive schools now than me because I give nga the Filipino National Scholarship Grant. The Filipinos are highly favored.
So they get their money's worth.
Yes.
So,
And rich or poor, if you are top of the class, you get full scholarship.
Okay.
Hoping that when they become successful, they will fund children from Abeliana who are now in our school, no, or children from Red Duterte
Yeah,
and he
he's
grew
a
up with
batchmate.
me. Yeah, he grew up with me from 2 years old until grade 12, right?
Yeah.
I asked a favor from him uh, to get scholars for us. And they graduated in CIE, senior high.
Okay.
Full scholars.
Wow, remarkable.
Well, right now, believe it or not, we awarded 3,500 scholarships, online scholarships for BSIT for online.
Mm.
We gave to the Armed Forces of the Philippines personnel, uniform, non-uniform dependents, Philippine Coast Guard, Philippine National Police, and Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary, and we gave to Sri Lanka 500 scholarships because their economy was down. Through my Rotary Club that I founded, I'm the charter president of the Rotary Club of Makati Circle of Friends.
Mm.
That's because in Rotary you have to use your vocation to
Yeah.
advance the ideals of Rotary. So we're advancing that. We don't solicit. Since we own the school, we just give especially it's online. I can even give 10,000 scholarships if I want to because it's online. Of course there is cost to the school, but it's not that much. But the actual tuition fee, because in Rotary you have to report how much is the real tuition fee for that. You have to report it's really asked in the portal. So it's kind of sizable if you look at it, but it's not for us.
Mm.
It's easy because we own the school.
Okay.
Yun.
So yeah, interesting conversation we had today.
Daldal ko, no?
Yeah. Perhaps a parting message to viewers or anything you'd want to relay. Lastly.
Well, lastly, one, the secret of CIE is because we love the students. If you only hear how we talk about them, no? How we analyze each and every personality. We have a list of critical children, children at risk. We have several lists. And we really brainstorm how to bring the best out of these kids to motivate them, to provide a motivating environment, because motivation is intrinsic. We can only provide a motivating environment, how to talk to the parents. Although we get into arguments with parents because we tell the truth. We don't sugarcoat, but we say it very tactfully. That's a secret. No? Why we are successful. I am successful because I love what I'm doing. It's my passion. No? And last but not the least, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter sounds like it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, how beautiful your cars are. Although I'm going to buy a car from here soon, a nice one.
Yeah, maraming
Maraming
choices.
choices. What's important is this. This is how we teach our students and how I live. This is how we measure success by literally counting the number of people whose lives have improved because of our existence.
Impacted lives, changed lives.
Yes. Not only one, because some people think, I already helped one, two. No. It's literally counting how many lives. I believe that each encounter should be an uplifting encounter, that I learn from you and you learn from me, and that
Yeah.
at the end of the day we part ways. Hopefully, no?
Better.
You come to rethink about that encounter, and you'd say, oh, that was a beautiful encounter. I learned a lot. That's my dream for everyone. But it's so difficult because there's so much evil in the world. So we have to pray.
Yeah.
Pray hard for
Pray for strength.
this world, for the people.
Yeah.
So many people have become so attached to material things, forgetting,
Yeah.
the
It's-
development of the true being inside. We were created the image and likeness of God, and that has to come out. And if we are so occupied with material things, our goodness will not come out.
Yeah. Sometimes we lose track, but it's important to focus on
Yes.
the essentials. Yeah.
Yes. But if you have a strong foundation, you may lose track, but you can
revert
easily
back
find
to
your way.
the foundations.
Yes.
You don't lose your way.
Yes. For
Too
a
much.
long time. Too
You-
much.
you go back.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, I certainly got something from our conversation tonight. So it was a pleasure, and thank you for this
I'm
conversation.
very proud of you because you were my baby. I used to carry you when you were crying when you were 2 years old.
Yeah.
But I would pinch your cheeks. You had rosy cheeks.
Yeah, I was a
Yes.
chubby baby, very white. Okay.
Still very handsome.
Yes.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you too for inviting me.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I'm
Teacher
I'm-
Nelia. I still call you teacher.
Yes, actually that's my brand. I'm a teacher forever and
Yeah,
ever.
teacher at heart, teacher
Teacher
for
at heart,
life.
For life. I always lecture. That's why some people find me boring. I'm
Yeah,
too serious.
a lot of learnings naman. So, thank you. Thank you.